Welcome back, loves. Today we're stepping into one of my absolute favorite aesthetics, the British countryside girl. Think wax jackets, wool knits, muddy boots, fresh air, and timeless pieces that feel both lived in and endlessly elegant. If you've ever dreamed of wandering through a foggy field with a basket of apples or sipping hot tea beside a wood-burning stove, this aesthetic is for you. It's that perfect blend of cozy, rugged, traditional, and quietly romantic. There's nothing overly curated or modern. It's windswept hair, tweed blazers, weatherproof layers, and a sense of nostalgia that makes you want to press leaves in old books and write letters by hand. Today we'll break it all down: the essential wardrobe pieces, the earthy color palette, the textures, the beauty approach, and why this countryside style is having such a cozy revival this season. So grab your hot tea, preferably in a chipped mug, wrap up in a knit blanket, and let's head into the rolling hills of the British countryside aesthetic. But first, what is the British countryside aesthetic? The British countryside aesthetic is all about practical elegant meets timeless tradition. It's not flashy. It's not trendy. It's deeply rooted in heritage, where every piece feels like it could have been passed down or found in a tucked-away village shop. This girl isn't rushing anywhere. She's up with the morning mist, pulling on her boots to walk the dog or gather eggs. She spends her days in wax jackets, hand-knit jumpers, and trousers that have seen seasons come and go. But there's elegance in the ease. She's never underdressed, even when muddy. It's a lifestyle more than a look. Slow living, nature appreciating, tradition embracing. She might ride horses, bake bread, garden in the rain, or lose track of time in a local antique bookstore. And yet, her style is quietly iconic. From tweed to wool, barber to brogues, every piece feels like it's earned its place. At its heart, this aesthetic is cozy, outdoorsy, and deeply rooted in the old world. It's timeless and tactile, and once you fall in love with it, you'll never want to go back. British countryside fashion blends equestrian structure, heritage fabrics, rural utility, cottagecore romance, and quiet aristocratic elegance. It's tailored yet outdoorsy. Let's talk clothing style: practical, timeless, and warm. Now let's talk about the British countryside fashion aesthetic, because she's not just dressing for the look, she's dressing for the land, the wind, the quiet chill in the air, and the everyday rhythm of a life that moves between muddy fields, market days, and warm firelit rooms. Her wardrobe isn't curated for trends. It's curated for real life, and every piece she wears has weight, texture, and purpose. Her outerwear is where it starts. She lives in wax jackets and quilted coats, the kind that only look better with age, weather-resistant, reliable, and shaped by every walk through a foggy morning or sudden countryside drizzle. Some days it's a sleek barber-style bomber, aka barn jacket. Other days, a long-line wool coat that feels like tradition sewn into fabric. They're not flashy. They're foundational, built to last, made to move. Beneath the coat, her layers speak of comfort and heritage. There are always chunky knits, thick, fisherman or cable-style jumpers that feel like they were made by hand beside a stone hearth. These sweaters are cozy, weighty, and often carry a quiet nomadic pattern that feels like a story you've heard before, even if you can't place it. They're the kind of knits you can live in, pulled over a crisp collared shirt or layered under a vest for warmth and structure. Speaking of vests, a good wool vest, especially in earthy tones like deep brown or charcoal, is one of her favorite transitional layers. It's quiet, classic, and adds just enough sharpness to balance all that softness. And then there's her love for plaid, not as a trend, but as part of her rhythm. Plaid skirts, plaid trousers, plaid button-downs, and especially plaid blazers, these are pieces she reaches for without thinking. They feel like the countryside. They feel like home. She'll wear them to town for errands or into the fields with boots and a heavy sweater. They're endlessly versatile and always bring a sense of heritage to whatever she pairs them with. When it comes to bottoms, she's always ready to move. Wide-leg wool trousers, corduroy pants, or even durable leggings that can handle a climb over a fence or a long walk along a muddy path and still look smart enough for a pub lunch or a village gathering. On colder days, she'll reach for wool skirts with thick tights, pulled together with a sweater and boots that mean business. And those boots? they tell a story of their own. Her riding boots are sleek and structured, perfect with skirts or trousers, while her hunter rain boots are ready for anything the ground throws at her. Wellies, of course, it wouldn't be a countryside look without them. And on days when she's dressing up just a touch, it's Chelsea boots or polished brogues, practical and enduring, but still refined. Every pair of shoes she owns could walk through a field and still carry her confidently into a cafe or tucked-away bookshop without missing a beat. Her style isn't polished in a city girl way, it's polished in a way that feels real. Like she's thrown it on quickly, but every piece somehow belongs. She might be dressed for a morning ride, an afternoon in the garden, or an early train into town, but no matter what, she's layered for the weather, ready for movement, and carrying that quiet countryside elegance that doesn't try too hard. It's not fussy. It's not overly curated. It just works season after season, year after year, grounded in utility, tradition, and an effortless kind of classy that can't be faked. The goal? To look like you've just stepped out of a British period drama, or maybe Kate Middleton on a countryside weekend, but in a version where the characters actually muck the stables and make the tea themselves. It's that effortlessly unfussy elegance, functional, grounded, and layered with intention, where every piece feels like it has a story and none of it feels overdone. Next is the beauty and accessory details. Effortless, windswept, and always ready. First, skin and makeup. This look is never about full glam. It's about looking fresh, natural, and like you've just come in from a long walk through the hills. Skin is clean and glowing with a subtle, moisturized finish that catches the light without looking done up. Brows are softly brushed to keep everything natural and awake, while lips stay hydrated, soft and a little flushed from the cold. Mascara, if any, is kept light, just a soft swipe of brown or black to lift the lashes and give a bit of quiet definition. There's no blush, no shimmer, no gloss, just that effortless. I've been outside all morning. Kind of glow. Next is hair. Hair is always natural and practical, the kind of styling that looks like you didn't try, but somehow it still works. A loose ponytail might be tucked under a scarf or cap, a messy bun quickly pulled together before heading out the door, or hair left completely down and flowing, gently tousled and a little frizzy from the chill in the air. There's a softness to it, nothing heat-styled or overly neat, just hair that's been lived in, shaped by the weather, and perfectly imperfect in all the right ways. Now let's talk about the accessories. Here's where her personality truly shines through the layered, thoughtful details that bring the entire look to life. She wears wool flat caps with ease, structured and timeless with just the right amount of countryside edge. Her plaid scarves are thick and soft, either wrapped tight for warmth or casually tossed over her shoulders as if she didn't think twice about it. Leather gloves, usually in deep brown or black, peek out from her coat sleeves, worn and loved, ready for crisp walks or driving through winding back roads. She carries suede bags and weather-worn leather satchels that look like they've traveled with her for years, the kind of pieces that only get better with age. Sometimes she swaps them out for a Wellington Lodge-style duffel, perfect for a spontaneous weekend escape. And then there are the little romantic touches, a hand-woven willow basket swinging by her side after a market run, plaid gloves tucked into her pockets, or a tartan shoulder bag slung across her body. Every piece is practical and beautiful, not for show, but for real life. Built for use, made with care, and always layered in a way that feels effortless yet intentional. Now let's talk about the color palette. Earthy, heritage, and weather-worn. This aesthetic isn't just something you wear, it's something you feel. Every color, every texture, carries the essence of the countryside with it. It's the difference between looking autumnal and feeling like you've stepped into a Bronte novel. This color palette is earthy, muted, and full of stories. It's built from the landscape stone cottages, foggy fields, moss-covered walls, and weathered barns. These tones don't shout. They settle into you. They feel like a second skin worn, trusted, comforting. Let's step into them. Olive green feels like the scent of damp leaves and the weight of a wool coat after a long walk in the drizzle. It's grounding, the color of countryside paths that never quite dry and hedgerows that hum with life, even in October. Oatmeal and warm beige are like the first sip of milky tea after coming in from the cold. Soft, creamy, familiar. They're the color of thick porridge in a handmade bowl, or the wool throw you always reach for when the wind picks up. Tweed gray and weathered charcoal feel like early mornings when the fog hasn't lifted and the chimney smoke curls low. They wrap around you like the sleeves of your granddad's coat, a little too big, but perfect. Rust and berry bring the warmth. They're the color of changing leaves stuck to your boots, wild hedgerow berries crushed between your fingers or your cheeks after walking home in the wind. These tones glow against the fog like candlelight in a pub window, or embers in a fading fire. Navy and deep brown anchor the palette. They feel like history, like leather boots passed down, the spine of an old book, or the depth of the sky right before it rains. Serious, dependable, and quiet. These colors are not about being seen, they're about blending in with nature and feeling safe there. But more than the shades themselves, it's the textures that make them come alive. Wool is everything. Scratchy, heavy, warm in that way that feels protective, like a hug from someone who knows you well. It smells like the outdoors after a walk, not clean, but comforting. Corduroy and tweed feel like tradition. Structured, reliable. They whisper of libraries, countryside schools, and hands shoved into pockets by the fire. Waxed cotton has a texture you can hear it creaks when you move, smells faintly of the earth, and tells stories with every crease. It's built for the rain, and better with age. Brushed cotton and flannel are your inside layers, soft, well-worn, always warm. They feel like lying on the couch after kicking off your boots with a cup of tea and the dog curled at your feet. Every texture here asks to be touched, lived in, layered. Nothing is precious, and that's the point. These are clothes made to be worn on real days, muddy, rainy, foggy, golden. Days that feel alive. And that's what makes this color palette so special. It doesn't just look good. It feels like a life lived slowly, deeply, and close to the land. There's a quiet kind of heritage woven into the textures and prints of the countryside, not just in England, but across Scotland, Ireland, and Wales as well. It's not flashy, not nostalgic for the sake of it, just deeply lived in, practical, and passed down. From Scottish tweeds to Irish wool knits and Welsh woven blankets, these pieces tell stories of generations who worked the land, weathered the storms, and came in from the cold. A waxed jacket softened by years of rain, a hand-knit jumper worn every winter, a flat cap that's outlasted fashion. These aren't just garments. They're memory. They're tradition. And to wear them now is to carry a quiet connection to the past, wrapped in something that still feels grounding today. Now for some styling tips to achieve an effortless British countryside look. You don't need to live in the rolling hills of Yorkshire or deep in the Scottish Highlands to embrace the countryside aesthetic. In fact, this style thrives in places where fall stretches on endlessly, where mornings are misty, the rain comes often, and the air stays cool and damp long before, or instead of, any frost. Think of it as dressing for a lifestyle, not a location. To begin, start with the pieces that feel practical but poetic. Waxed or quilted jackets that can handle a drizzle. Tall riding or rain boots that look just as good on wet pavement as they do on a muddy path. And thick textured knits in natural wools that feel like warmth itself. Don't rush into heavy coats or thick snow gear. This is a layered look built for in-between weather. You'll want sweaters you can peel off, scarves you can drape or wrap depending on the wind, and vests that give you that countryside silhouette without the weight of a parka. Focus on materials that can breathe, but still hold warmth: wool, tweed, cashmere blends, and silhouettes that are made for movement. This style isn't overly polished or stiff. It's meant to be lived in. Skirts with tights, trousers tucked into boots, oversized jumpers thrown over collared shirts. Let the textures do the work. A chunky fisherman knit, a soft brushed flannel, or a woven plaid scarf says more than any loud print ever could. It's about creating the feeling of coming in from the cold, even if you haven't left the city. If your climate leans more rainy than snowy, all the better. This aesthetic shines in foggy, gray weather where the light is soft and the world feels slow. Invest in accessories that support the mood. Leather gloves that get better with wear. A wool flat cap to top off a messy bun. A suede bag slung over your shoulder as you run errands or wander a local market. The countryside look isn't about costumes or copying British life. It's about adapting that grounded, outdoorsy elegance into your real, everyday routine. It's for the girl who romanticizes the quiet things, reading by a window, walking in the drizzle, making a cup of tea while her jacket dries by the door. It's not about where you are, it's how you move through the season. Next is From Coastal Chic to British Countryside Class, the new fall shift. Okay, girls, here's the scoop: we've officially moved on from coastal chic and coastal grandma. The breezy linens, nautical stripes, and Hamptons energy had their moment, but fall is shifting us into something cozier, moodier, and way more grounded. Enter the British countryside aesthetic. Think of it as a refined evolution of the preppy look, but with heritage woven into every layer. It's still clean, classic, and elevated, but now there's texture, there's tradition, there's character. It's the waxed jacket you wear on a rainy morning walk, the sleek riding boots splashing through puddles, the chunky knit you've had for years that still makes you feel expensive. It's preppy, but with a countryside edge. And honestly, it's giving 2010 Kate Middleton in the best way possible: army green jackets, tailored silhouettes, that quiet kind of class we all loved back then, now revived with a sharper, more fashion-forward twist. And let's talk about how it plays out on TikTok and YouTube. This aesthetic sells the vibe in seconds. The fog, the fields, the crunch of leaves, the soft layering of scarves over tweed blazers, it's visual storytelling at its finest. The girls are showing up in their barber-inspired jackets, hunter boots, basket bags, and cable knit sweaters, creating content that feels like something out of a countryside romance film. It's aspirational, but still incredibly wearable. Cozy, but chic. And that's exactly why it's taking over your feed. It doesn't feel like a costume. It feels like a lifestyle. A walk to the market, coffee in hand, casually posed by a stone wall kind of lifestyle. It fits the fall mood perfectly and gives us that lived-in, layered look that still feels put together. This isn't just another trend, it's the aesthetic shift that's defining the season, and the girls are eating it up. And there you have it, the full breakdown of the British countryside girl aesthetic. From muddy boots to timeless knits, this look is more than a vibe, it's a lifestyle. Cozy, grounded, and beautifully undone. Let me know in the comments, are you already living your countryside dream, or are you just getting started? What's your favorite piece you'd add to your wardrobe this season? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay warm, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.